All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Freddie, and this is Katrina, and we have a baby.
Here she is.
This is Violet, and she's awful sweet. Say hi, everybody. Say hi. What do you think? She's just over 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
Just over 6 months old. Yeah, and she's our pride and joy. But today, we have a story to tell, so...
As you can tell from the title of this video.
Yeah.
We've been wanting to do YouTube for a while now,
Mm-hmm.
and this story kind of, I guess, helped push us to show you guys our lives,
Yeah.
I guess.
So, all right, where does this start? Where does the story start?
So, starting about 3 months ago, we decided to move to Arizona, and that's where his parents are.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we moved to Arizona about 3 months ago, and we had to basically start over from everything. We basically packed up our car and just left and kind of left everything behind and went to go start this new journey. And of course his parents offered to let us stay with them for a while until we got on our feet and got jobs and found a place and everything like that. So, we made sure everything was good to go when we got there. And... so let's see, we got there, everything was fine.
Yeah, and also we should mention that we're both from Colorado. I had lived in Arizona for a little while, so I knew what I was getting myself into. And this was also a really small town that my parents lived in. And that's, where I spent about half of my childhood. But she had never been anywhere outside of Colorado, really. So that was a really big adventure. And when we got there, it was really funny because... before we left, her mom was telling her about how there's scorpions in Arizona. And so she does all this research on what scorpions are in Arizona. And the most common scorpion that was there is the bark scorpion. And but yeah, so she's absolutely horrified of scorpions. Just absolutely terrified. And I mean, they're pretty dangerous scorpions. They could easily, if they got to our little baby, they could really, really hurt her or even kill her. They're really venomous scorpions.
Yeah, and that was my biggest fear. I was up until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning while in Arizona just looking up all of these horror stories about scorpions and babies and how parents would find them in their children's cribs. And like he said, I was mortified. I was horrified. Yeah.
It was a nightly thing for me to talk her down about the scorpions. But anyways, we didn't really see any while we were in my parents' house. So when we got down there, obviously we had to work towards getting jobs, and we made the decision that she was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and that I was just going to get a full-time job and pay the bills that way. I was able to get a good job. I worked at a motorcycle shop. It was a pretty fun job, but after a couple of weeks, we had enough money saved up to where we were able to go ahead and get a deposit on an apartment. And this whole time, she's been working tirelessly trying to find an apartment that we can get into that, looks good. So she eventually landed on one.
Yeah. It wasn't my favorite one, but we were kind of in a hurry to get out of the parents' house. And
we had been there they had said we could come stay for about 6 weeks, and we had been there well over our stay. So
yeah.
We wanted to get out of their hair and just, get into a place.
And that was mainly because a lot of places where we were staying, they were all booked and all full, and they were all on wait lists, and I couldn't even find availability to move in right away.
It was high demand and low supply.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we came across this apartment. I guess I came across this apartment, and it was cheap to move in. They had like a move-in special. I figured it was perfect. They had one that was ready 3 days from when I found it. So I couldn't look at it until basically the day before we signed and everything. So we went ahead and applied.
We got it.
We were super excited. Yeah, and we got it, and we were really pumped up. And then move-in day came, which was actually the day that we signed the lease as well. So that was, I think it was a Friday. And
yeah.
He usually got an hour lunch break, so I emailed the property manager and let her know that we were going to be coming in at the hour time frame so he could sign the lease too and we could get the keys and everything. Mm-hmm. Well, we got there and she wasn't there, and she didn't show up until he had to leave, basically right when he had to leave and go back to work. Luckily, he brought his he was riding a motorcycle at the time, so
Or
he
a
brought
bike
his
shop,
motorcycle. Yeah, so he brought his motorcycle, so he was able to leave and I could stay. So that was already kind of like a red flag, I guess you could say. And then I went and looked at the apartment after I signed, and she went ahead and gave me keys and said that he could sign on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in, and immediately when I went in, I had a very bad feeling about this place. I cried probably for an hour or two. I called my mom, told her I didn't like this place. I didn't want her taking her first steps in that place. I didn't feel comfortable. It was just dirty and really run down and not my style at all.
Meanwhile, I'm at work and I got a text saying, you know, I know that we're at that we got the apartment, and I'm thinking everything is great. We got a place to live. We got a job. Everything's going well. I'm excited. And, you know, meanwhile, you know, she's over here and it's just...
So yeah, I was obviously texting him nonstop, like, I don't like this place. I want to take back what I signed. I don't want to be stuck here, whatever. And, you know, he gets off work and he comes to the apartment and meets me because I was cleaning it, and that's why I went in, because it was still really dirty. So
Yeah.
I was like doing my own cleaning, especially for her and for us to move in.
And I, like, you know, get off work and I see all these text messages that she sent me and all these missed calls, and so I call her. And she's like sobbing on the phone, and I'm thinking, oh, all right, so I'll just go talk her down. It'll be fine, you know, and it'll be okay. Like I'll tell her I think it's a great place, and it'll be all right. She'll feel better, and yeah. So that's what I was expecting.
And that's what happened. Really, that's what happened. I still didn't really like it, but I was like, okay, he's right. We have our own little place, and
I thought it was super cute.
Yeah, he was like,
it was
it's
cozy.
super cute. Cozy's not always a good thing.
It was cozy.
But, you know, he was like, you know, it's fine. It's nice. It's our own place. And I was honestly so excited to get our own place. I think I was just like, okay, let's just do this and let's just move in. So we ended up getting a truck and then moving like our bed and a couch and certain things into the apartment. And after about, 2 hours of doing that?
Yeah, we're moving in. We were like, all right, let's go get some pizza and a little bit of groceries, and let's just celebrate and relax tonight. You know?
Oh, and we should also mention, he didn't get off work until about 6:30.
Right.
So by the time we were done, it was dark out, and it was probably about 9 o'clock when we went and got pizza.
Yeah.
So, so we left and went and got pizza. And then, you know, we obviously talked a little bit. I was still kind of like, I don't really like it. I don't know. I never liked it. And then this is when it takes a turn for the worst. And we end up
So we go out to get pizza.
Yes.
Okay, we go out to get pizza, and, you know, I'm telling her about how excited I am, and I'm trying to help her feel better, you know? And she starts, you know, seeming like she's feeling better, and she's like, yeah, you know, I'm excited too. We're starting over. And so, you know, at this point, we're both in pretty good spirits, and we got our pizza, was super excited about the pizza. Oh my God, the pizza. And then we get back home, and the way that the place is set up, the light switch right when you walk in the front door, you know how normally you can reach over and turn on the light right next to you? Well, this place didn't have that. It was across the living room to turn on any lights at all. It did have a light switch that was connected to an outlet, but we didn't have a lamp, so we had to walk across the living room to get to the light switch, and that's actually pretty important. But like she said, it's dark, so we're trying to stumble through, you know, all our stuff, and it's pitch black to get to the light switch, and then we turn on the light. I get across the room and I turn on the light while she's. Oh, are you good? Yeah. I get across the room and I turn on the light while she's standing at the front door. And I turn it on and I put the pizza on the stove, and she says, hey, what's that? And, like, she sounds pretty worried. And I'm thinking, oh, she found a cricket or something, you know. It's nothing. And she's like, babe, there's a snake over there. And I was like, no. And I'm thinking, well, maybe there could be a snake, like a little tiny garter snake, you know, dinky. And so she, like, points to it, and sure enough, underneath the baby's, like, rocker saucer toy that she sits in, I see this tail about this long just slink underneath.
Getting you just thinking about it.
Slink under the baby's bouncer. And it was fat, too. It was, like, this thick. And I was like, whoa, that is a snake. and it's not a garter snake. And so she's just like, oh my God. And so she runs into the room and she's running around going, what do we do?
Yeah.
At this point, she is sobbing and hysterical.
So, okay, but from my perspective, he goes, and I'm carrying her, may I mention.
Yeah.
I'm carrying her standing at the door, and I'm actually going to, planning to put her in her saucer. I think that's what happened, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to put her down in her little saucer thing. It's like an activity saucer, and they can, play with a bunch of toys in a circle type of thing. And
yeah.
I went to go do that, and luckily I looked down and I just saw this tail underneath, and it took me a couple seconds to register what I was seeing, because at that point I already thought I was delusional because of all of my I was freaking out about scorpions and all these bugs and all these spiders and looking for tarantulas and javelinas and all these crazy creatures I've never even seen or heard of until I moved to Arizona. And then that's when I kind of snip into mom mode, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there is a snake underneath my daughter's toy.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of started to freak out. I don't know what to do because I don't really mind snakes, but I don't like them just in my house uninvited, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And we don't know where it came from or anything. And the only instance I had, I just decided to put Violet on the bed in the bedroom and barricade the bedroom so he could catch it, because I was
She's trying to close
worried.
the door, and the door has this big of a gap at the bottom of it, and so it's not it's not doing anything.
Yeah, so I was trying really hard to protect her by, because and then after we kind of realized it was a snake. That's when he kind of flipped over her toy and realized what kind of snake it was.
Yeah, so I flip, and she's, terrified for good reason. She's full mama bear mode and just absolutely hysterical. And, what are you doing? And so I pick the thing up thinking, I hope this thing doesn't jump out at me or something, and I'm not scared of snakes either. I actually really like snakes, but it's just kind of weird when you don't know what kind of snake it is and if it's going to kill you or not. So I flip it up, and I'm like, that doesn't look like a native snake, and it's not. It wasn't native snake. It was a ball python, which is a pet snake, and it was a baby ball python, and they're relatively harmless. They're very docile. So anyways, I'm looking at this thing thinking this isn't gonna hurt anybody. But anyways, we called the emergency line for the apartment. We walk over to the office and get the emergency line off of the door.
Well, wait, first we trapped the snake underneath. We grabbed our empty trash can that we just had, and we put the trash can on top, and then put a dresser drawer, something heavy on top, so we couldn't get out of it.
Yeah.
And we first knocked on our neighbor's, because it was kind of like a fourplex. It kind of looked like a fourplex. We were in this corner, and there was another corner, and then two more above us. Yeah. So we asked all three of them if they had a snake or a pet ball python, because there was one in our living room. We didn't want to call and get rid of it if it was somebody's pet. We were trying to be considerate. And no, everyone was like, no. And it was 11 o'clock?
Yeah, it's
we were
11 o'clock
knocking on people's doors, making a huge ruckus. And so then we, check, make sure it's no one's snake. And then that's when we walk over to the leasing office, which had the emergency maintenance number on it. And that's when we decided to call.
And we called the guy, and we were like, hey, so there's a ball python in our living room. And he's like, what? And we're like, yeah, there's a ball python in our living room. We just moved in, today. And he's like, that is crazy, man. He's like, I don't really know what to do. Let me call my manager, and I'll get back to you. And I was like, all right, cool. So we're waiting to hear back from this guy, and we're eating pizza in the car now.
I refused to go back in the house. I had baby, and I was like, no, Violet and I are not going back in the house. And so yeah, he went in, grabbed the pizza, and we ate in the car. By that point, it was already cold because it's been an hour that's kind of gone by.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we hear back from the guy, and he's like, yeah, man, we can't really do anything about it. You'll have to call animal control or something. I don't even know. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, thanks for trying. So I called animal control, and they came and picked the snake up. In the meantime, while we're waiting for animal control, the apartment manager, actually not the manager, but the service guy, the maintenance guy, showed up, and he was like, I want to see this thing, man, and can I, like, what's going on here? So he wanted to get, like, I guess, physical evidence that the snake was there, and so he came in, and I lifted up the trash can and let him see it, and he was like, this is crazy, I've never had anything like this happen, and I was like, I know, I feel like this probably doesn't happen to too many people, you know, a little horrifying, but yeah, it's just, honestly, to me, it was funny at this point. So animal control comes and picks it up, and the guy's like, yeah, that's a ball python, and he picks it up with his hand, and it doesn't care at all, and he just takes it to his car, and that's that, you know. Next day comes around. Come here, sweetie pie. The next day comes around, and I go to work, and I'm telling everybody at work about this, and I'm telling my manager, and he's like, that is crazy, there's no ball pythons around here. I'm like, I know, dude, it was nuts. So everyone is, you know, thinking it's a cool story and everything, and I'm thinking we're good. I get a call from the property manager, and she's like, hey guys, I am so sorry, we don't know how that snake got in there. We think it maybe, like, we just put in a new fridge and new range and everything and new carpet, and somehow everybody missed it. We don't know how it got in. And I was like, I mean, it's no worries. It's not really something that you could, you know, foresee happening. So I wasn't really mad about it or anything. And she's like, I would love to offer you guys, like, a free month of rent, or, like, just, I've got a bunch of gift cards for all these different restaurants. It's up to you. And I was just going to go ahead and take the free rent, because it's rent, you know. And I was like, you know what, why don't you call my wife? Here's her phone number. I'm at work. So she calls her, and I don't really hear anything about this until I get off. But the whole time, for the rest of the day, I'm just thinking, this is great. You know, this is the best possible thing that could have happened to us. We got into a place, and now we don't even have to pay our first month's rent. This is wonderful, you know. And so I guess the phone conversation with her went a little differently.
Yeah, so she called me, and, you know, she was basically, you know, very apologetic. She was very helpful. You know, she said the same thing to me, that they changed this flooring and got all these new appliances, and they never saw the snake, and even the cleaning lady never saw the snake. And she actually offered me half off of first month's rent, so that was already kind of weird. And then a bunch of gift cards, and then she did offer me to move out if I didn't feel safe, because I did mention that I didn't feel safe for Violet's. Like, I felt like Violet's safety wasn't, you know, I didn't feel like she was safe there after this whole incident with the snake and everything, which may have been a little dramatic thinking about it now. Now I think about it, it's pretty funny how there was a snake in our place, and that's why we're making this video. But at the time, I didn't find it funny at all.
No.
And and so
I'm thinking everything is great at work, mind you.
Yeah.
She's having a horrible day, even before the lady calls, right?
Yeah, I immediately left the house when he left. I got her dressed. I packed up a bag for her, like, full of stuff to be gone all day, because I did not want to go back. So I went to his parents' house and hung out with them. They had a yard sale that day, and I literally sat there in their garage, like, the whole day. And then I also drove around all day long with her, and we hung out. We walked around Target. I went anywhere except for the apartment. And so, yeah, then she called me, and after the conversation, I didn't feel any better, because I told her, I was like, I'd rather talk to my husband about it before I tell you what we want, because he's at work right now. I don't know. You know, she said that she called in, but I didn't hear anything about it because he's working. So she says that we have until Monday, and we can decide until Monday or whatever.
And it's like Saturday right now, right?
Yeah, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
So then, you know, as I'm driving around, and like I said, the conversation on the phone with the property manager did not make me feel better. Mm-mm. And it kind of made me a little bit relieved, because she did mention that we could move out if that was an option we wanted to have. So that's kind of when I decided that was the option I wanted. So then
She decided. Did you hear that? She decided.
So that's when I was like, okay, I need to get him on board, because I do not
begin the sales process.
I do not want to be in this apartment anymore. And, you know, then I was thinking about ways to get out of the apartment, and I was like, okay, all we have to do is basically tell her we don't want to be in the apartment anymore, we'll move out. And she even said we can, you know, we'll try to get our money back. And honestly, it was so cheap to move in, I was like, I don't even care if we get our money. I just don't want to be stuck here for 12 months. So then all these ideas just started, or like all these things just kept coming into my head. And that's when I was like, okay, I think it'd be best if we moved back to Colorado. Because at this point, I've already been talking about moving back to Colorado. I've been hinting at him I wanted to move back.
For months.
Ever since we got there, really?
Pretty much ever since we got there. She would, oh, now we're going to move back to Colorado, right? And I'm like, no, sweetie, we came out here,
It mainly started from the scorpions, obviously, was a big thing for me. And then the heat was also another thing.
It was hot.
It was
really hot.
Like, I was born and raised in Colorado, and I've been here my whole life. And I've only lived in 2 cities. And yeah, I do not like the heat. I thought I hated the snow and the cold, but I really missed it when we were there.
We were burning up.
But yeah, so then that's when I decided I'm going to make a pros and cons list. That's kind of how we kind of make our decisions. If that might sound really weird, but that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
We make pros and cons lists, and that's what I did. I made a notes thing on my iPhone and shared it with him and put like a whole bunch of pros and a whole bunch of cons of moving back. And I only had like 3 cons to move back, which were the only ones I could actually think of. I wasn't just doing that on purpose, but I had like this whole list of pros, and I was like, it makes sense to move back.
Well, I get off work and I just see this, Katrina shared moving back to Colorado with you. And so I'm like, oh, this is funny. She's being cute. That's hilarious. And so I give her a call and I'm like, hey, babe, I just got off work. How's it going? And she's like, I have had the worst day. But guess what? I've got some great news. I want to tell you about it when you get home. And I was like, oh, no, is this serious? She wasn't just kidding around. So I get back, and the whole ride home, I'm thinking to myself, okay, how am I going to tell her that we're not moving back to Colorado? How can I go about telling her that that's just not going to happen? And so I get there, and she starts going on her list with me. And I was like, oh, well, this is one of those times where I feel like, I just don't need to argue and just let this happen. So we're here. We're in Colorado now. She talked me into it. She gave me her best sales pitch, and we moved right back to Colorado like a couple days later. That's right, baby.
Yeah, we've been in Colorado now. We've been back for like about a month. Mm-hmm. About a month now.
Yeah. I just got a job. Yeah. She's almost got a job. And, we're working towards a couple of different things and getting all set up here. But, yeah, that's pretty much our story there as far as the journey from Colorado to Arizona and back again to Colorado.
Yes. Yeah. We kind of thought this video would be a little bit entertaining and be a good way to kind of start our YouTube journey with you guys.
Yeah. So if you guys enjoyed our story time, please leave a like and maybe a comment in the description or, in the comments below. It actually would really help us, and we want to get this channel off the ground and just start, recording our lives a little bit. So, and actually actively recording instead of, doing story times all the time.
And any video recommendations that you guys have or want to see us do or talk about, or if you guys want us to do, more info about us or questions, anything like that, leave that below. And then we'll also link our social medias below too, so you can go ahead and follow us and DM us questions or whatever you guys want to ask or talk about or comment about.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, and we hope to see you guys in the next video.
All right. Bye.
Bye.